by the length of the rectus femoris, which is the muscle over here on the quadricep. And it affects that area because that rectus femoris goes over the hip and the knee joint. And when I try and bend my knee, so you can bend it again, I get a stretch of the rectus femoris over the hip joint and over the knee joint. And when curving down, peeling your spine off of the foam roller, hold, extending. Now I shift the foam roller, extending lower, middle, upper back. And I can give a little push on this foam roller, which is really, really nice. And there they're getting that position. Does start tightening up the hip flexors. But again, that is going to be client specific. When we have an anterior pelvic tilt, we have the pubic bone going backwards. We have lumbar arching, in other words, lumbar extension, and we have hip flexion. Those three go hand in hand. When we have a posterior pelvic tilt, we have lumbar flexion. Take the leg behind you, and we've got about 15 to 20 degrees behind you there if you have flexibility in your hip flexors. And that range, inhale there for me. Exhale, right leg lifts up to 90 degrees, hold. Exhale, left leg lifts up, hold. You can put your hands on top of your knees. Inhale. Exhale, up into your chest lift, hold. Hands to your left knee and pull the knee in a little bit closer to you. Extend that other leg out. Reach. Right. Now, when you do this, if you're going to, good. So we've got the sheet of glass big like this. I want you to take your arms forward into flexion. And now she's got the sheet of glass here, and she comes and she breaks it. So that movement is not in the coronal plane. So the movements in the coronal plane are then abduction and adduction. Then we have the okay, got it. Right, you're going to inhale there for me. Exhale, lifting the legs, arms and head off. There we go. Shoulders up in the ears, head is up, knees are bent, classic, because they don't like to break from that hip, because that means they've got to stretch over the front of the hip, so they tend to go into a knee bend. Fully extend those knees for me. There we go. Good. Let's start moving the arms and legs. And 1 and 2. Pulling right into that upper trapezius and not getting a scoop of that scapula with the serratus anterior. A lot of rotation happening in the spine. Forward, 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 forward. Yes. Now rotate this open. Come on, rotate your spine for me a little bit more. So I'm going to ask you to do that. There we go. Lemiz is saying, come on, Brad, we're dying over here. Much better position. We're getting him into his glute degrees because nobody stands like that. So you've got like 3-4 degrees of hip flexion, and we can never say that somebody's hamstrings are lengthened by looking at their posture, because they're not standing at 120 degrees hip flexion. They're standing at 3 or 4 degrees. To get that neutral pelvis, because those hamstrings are pulling those ischial tuberosities forward, and therefore she's not able to get lumbar spine in neutral, hip flexors and quads. And now we're actually able to get him to extend in his lumbar spine. So really arch your lumbar spine. There we go. And this is how we're going to strengthen his lumbar spine. Not by trying to
get some information. What's also super important is when you do get information and they tell you, no, I go for a run occasionally or I go for a cycle, then when you do the exercises to assess them, you can go, okay, great, this is a really good exercise for hip stability. You said you go for a run, right? This is a perfect exercise. So then they
exhale, extending both legs out to 45, reach, and gently controlling it in. And exhale, fully extend, abdominals draw, trying to stabilize, and gently ask our students to think of being more situationally aware. What is going on around you? Somebody is walking in, they're looking extremely uncomfortable. They're not sure where to go. You're busy on your phone, or you're busy getting your equipment ready, and you leave that individual hanging over there, anterior, posterior. And you can see that her pubic symphysis is behind her ASIS, or her hip bones, which tells you she's in a slight anterior pelvic tilt. Now, if she's in a slight anterior pelvic tilt, it's also going to tell you that she, cross your arms over each other. Is there any hyperextension? Louise has absolutely no hyperextension in her knees. You can also ask her to pull up on her kneecap.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. Okay, turn your palms to face down to get that open shoulder. And I'm going to ask you to drop your legs inwards. And I'm just doing that so you don't use your glutes and you can actually focus on your back, because I want to assess how well your back works in this position. And this is one of our most basic exercises. So if it does feel intense, you must know that as you strengthen, it's going to become even more intense. And we're really going to strengthen your back, but we're going to do it without hurting it. I want you to hold those abdominals like you did right in the beginning of the class so that you don't feel when you're moving. So you would rather talk them through the exercise and go inhale. Exhale, abdominals, draw the pelvis through. It squashes your back down. And now peel that spine off of the mats. And I'm using my voice as I do it. Hold. Inhale.
Also super important is your own appearance. While as an instructor, what do you look like? How do you practice what you preach, etc., as well?
Exactly. And I think for me personally, what would be the most important if I was a client would be my instructor's hygiene. That would be, just keep your elbows open and exhale up 2 and inhale down. Working a bit. 3. Inhale, exhale, slowly curving down and really try and keep that diagonal line at the top for me. That pubic bone through, peeling the spine up, taking it all the way up to the ceiling. Hold it in this position. Let's increase that contraction. Last one, we keep it there, ladies. Pull those elbows away, little pulses. 1. Pressing 2, it's intense. 3, extend the thoracic spines. And 5.